sure that we understood the questions, I'll express my understanding of each before I proffer an answer. Commissioner Baloyi wanted to understand when the reports are filed by the inspectorate and the minister's letter to IDEC, whether it's in respect of the complaint that the dockets were being intercepted, or it's in respect of the content of the dockets, which is the basis of the complaint, or it's in respect of both. Okay. If then our understanding is correct, for our answer, we will direct you to Annexure 15, which is what the witness had testified to, and in particular page 289, where that information note starts. Starts at 289. And just for reference, that particular document concludes at page 291, and you will note below the signature the date, that is the report of the 20th of November 2024. Once again, for context, there had been a previous report of the 4th of November 2024, and the commissioners will recall in that particular report an extension was requested. So this follows up on that. So I would like to refer the commissioners to page 290 of the bundle, which is the second page of that report. And point to paragraph 3.2. Two nine zero at 3.2. And it states, the affidavits in the dockets are basic and in the opinion of this office lack the elements of crime. So that's addressing the content of the docket. Now, if we go back to page 289, item 2.2.1, it says a report was compiled wherein the allegations that there was interference from both the provincial offices were reported to be unfounded. So that 2.2.1 responds to the, it's not interference, interception, and 3.2 refers to the allegations made in the A1 statement, yes, in each docket. So I trust that answers the question unless another arises therefrom.
No, it's not so much a question arising. I think what I wanted to clarify was you had been discussing with the witness and you asked him the question, where is that complaint now?
Yes.
That kind of question.
Oh.
And he answered and it wasn't clear to me which complaint is he responding to now.
And also just to complete the question, I guess one could also ask, what is it that goes to IDEC?
I'm coming there, and I think it ties in very well to Commissioner Baloyi's question. When I asked where is that complaint, it's in relation to the complaint that was forwarded to IDEC by the Chief of Staff. That is the investigation I was interested in, and the witness explained that he related a story that, or his testimony was involved General Sintumule and assistance to IDEC to obtain the files that were with the inspectorate so that they transfer to IDEC. And General Sintumule will come and talk about what the challenges were then that required intervention to allow for that process to complete so that IDEC can work on the complaint as it received on the 11th of November. This information note relates only to the work of the inspectorate that was carried out by the inspectorate. So as of the 20th of November 2020, as far as the inspectorate was concerned, there was no basis for a complaint, both as contained in each of the 6 dockets, based on what was provided, the decision by the complainant not to avail themselves to provide further elucidation, and the fact that they found no evidence of interception. So both technically were dismissed by. That then left the IDEC complaint. Now, getting to the IDEC complaint, that is the one that is referred on the 11th of November. He deals with it, paragraph 180 of his statement. And the complaint is forwarded to IDEC in terms of section 27 of the NPA Act 32 of 1998. And in the section 27 reads, if any person has reasonable grounds to suspect that a specified offense has been or is being committed, or that an attempt has been or is being made to commit such an offense, he or she may report the matter in question to the head of investigating directorate by means of an affidavit or affirmed declaration specifying A, the nature of the suspicion, B, the grounds on which the suspicion is based, and C, all other relevant information known to the declarant. So when the Chief of Staff issues that letter, he invokes Section 27. And Section 27 is intended to trigger the investigative process by IDEC into the commission of an offense. So now the color is slightly different because it implies some level of criminality. It is that process that I was inquiring as to the status thereof.
And you've just referred to an affidavit. This is a letter, not an affidavit.
And indeed, that letter is wholly non-compliant with the very sections 27 that it purports to invoke. This leads me to the question posed by Commissioner Khumalo regarding, if I did not misunderstand him, regarding General Khumalo, if I'd understood well.
Can I maybe rephrase my question?
Yes.
So there is this complaint, and I read those with the conclusion in paragraph 184 of the statement, of General Mkhwanazi's statement.
Yes.
And what I was struggling to follow was whether a suggestion was being made that the Chief of Staff and MP Adams were collaborating to frustrate investigations of the GCI ops, or what is it that the General says they are collaborating to achieve? I'm just missing that from paragraph 184 of the statement.
From the testimony of the witness, and again, with reference to the documents, we start with the letter of the Chief of Staff,
Yes.
which arises from a complaint that arrived by email in the Minister's office. That email did not attach the dockets. So the Chief of Staff does not know the nature of the complaints in the dockets. That becomes, only the inspectorate has view of that when it looks into the actual dockets. So the only basis on which the Chief of Staff would be referring this matter to IDEC is that he suspects or there's a complaint of interception. We will run ahead a bit, but before we do so, I go back to page 290. Remembering what
Sorry to interrupt you. Looking at the paragraph that starts due to the nature, page 310.
310.
Yes. On my understanding, that's the referral to IDEC. So when you look at that paragraph, due to the nature of the allegations, And if you read that in the context of what comes before, it seems to me that it's not the interception now that the Chief of Staff is talking about, but rather the complaints in the dockets themselves. I'm just correcting your last or so sentence.
Indeed, and I wish to engage with that, because there is no document that would support a conclusion by the Chief of Staff, to that extent. And the reason being, timeline is important. The complaint by Mr. Adams is made on the 1st of November. It is then immediately referred, as received, to the National Commissioner for on forwarding to the Inspectorate. In that email, there is nothing about the content of the complaint in the dockets. So the Chief of Staff doesn't know. The only complaint that the Chief of Staff receives is the interception of the Cape Town dockets, and what he says seems to be happening once again with the Gauteng. So it's the conduct of the police in intercepting these dockets.
Why do we say that?
Because it's in the wording of the email. When one looks at the email, what we have attached are the actual emails that were forwarded to the office of the minister. And that starts at page 266, 266. And that email at 266 speaks to the two sets of dockets, speaks to I was told the dockets were intercepted, and at 4 it says, I have been notified that the Gauteng Police Department had followed the same modus operandi. That is what gets referred to the Inspectorate. The only issue that goes beyond the interception is at page 268. And at 268, it's once again, it's an email to Mr. Ngabinde of the 10th of November, the subsequent one. And it reads, we hereby request that an independent officer or body be appointed, as we are concerned that General Masemola may have erred in his statement that the allegations pertaining to Major General Khumalo's security clearance. In this case, the National Commissioner has misled the nation, which in our view is a very serious issue. So now this is a complaint against General Masemola. The dockets themselves, the 6 of them, relate to a complaint about General Khumalo. And hence the conclusion that even as at the 10th of November, the Chief of Staff did not have knowledge on the content of the actual dockets themselves, and therefore the nature of the complaint in there must be correct. And we say that our interpretation has to be correct regarding being held to how he phrases the referrals to IDEC.
You may continue with your response to my co-commissioner, Commissioner Khumalo.
To do that, I will have to perhaps once again back to page 290, and that's an extra MK15. Is that information note from the Inspectorate, which we say dismiss the true complaint. At item 3, under discussion. It says the criminal allegations in the 6 cases which were opened are leveled against Lieutenant General Khumalo, Major General Lushaba, Major General Madondo, and Brigadier Ncube, and are centered on 4 specific matters. You recall when we were looking at the email of the 10th, it was about General Masemula's conduct. And that's not part of this investigation. And these are centered on 4 specific matters, namely abuse of the Secret Service account, cover-up of a criminal incident linked to Valera case, failure to address Major General Madondo's result of the polygraph examination, and practices of nepotism. We have to jump ahead. I don't want to testify on behalf of the witness to point Commissioner Kumalo to page 96 of the witness statement. And from paragraphs 3 to 5. All right. Now, that deals with the arrest of General Kumalo subsequently, arising from a case of, quote, at best, nepotism. Criminal charges are laid against him, that's in there, and he is arrested. He is now on bail. So when the witness said in his statement that they follow patterns, this is the pattern that they are speaking to, and I'm going to hand over to him now to explain the pattern issue. But before I do so, I would like to draw your attention to a qualifier he put forward before dealing with specific allegations. And that's at 158. And it states, I request that each of the facts I articulate below be taken into proper context, being the developing pattern of cartel infiltration of policing and the criminal justice system in general in the country that is being established by available intelligence. Each fact on its own may admittedly not be conclusive, but I submit that in the context provided, each supports, at the very least, a call for further and deeper interrogations and investigations. So as the various pieces come together, there'll be a better appreciation of the facts that he's testifying to now, because they are part of what he contends, or they contend, the police, is a developing pattern.
But if you had not reached the part that you say you are going to direct the witness to, I prefer that you should not jump there.
Okay.
Get back to where you were and just go on with the...
Okay, then we will flag it when we get to that part.
Yes.
I will make sure that the witness deals, connects what it now at page 96 back to this conversation to conclude the point. Thank you, Chair. I'll approach it that way. In light of the answers provided, I don't want us to rehash. I just want to make sure that the witness had not completed the point that he sought to make, insofar as the complaint to Inspectorate and IDEC are concerned. General, therefore, to test my understanding, and please listen carefully, and I will pick up on what the chair said, and I do so quite mindful of the fact that the chair did qualify his comment to say it's early days, with reference to quote unquote and non-complaint. So I want to inquire from the witness the nature of the actual complaint insofar as what we've been discussing is concerned. We know that Mr. Adams' complaint, or non-complaint, however it can be defined, triggered 2 separate investigative processes into the conduct of the police. Is that your case? What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
Commissioner, when you, as we investigate, as I said before, that we get an evidence of something and we try and connect this with something else, and you start seeing a different picture. Mr. Adam, despite the fact that he leveled these complaints against these individuals at crime intelligence, on the 29th and the 31st of October, respectively, in two different police stations, two different provinces. The following day, then he sends a complaint to the minister. The outcome of that complaint seems to not resolve or address what they want to achieve or what he wants to achieve. In that, the National Commissioner's Office, the inspectorate in the police through the National Commissioner's Office is asking for additional, number of days, which is another 10 days. The minister receives this and he acknowledged this on the 8th of November. 2 days later, Mr. Adams sends another email, now with a different content, same complaint, but now he believes this time around. He's talking to what the National Commission has done, but yet he has not been able to engage with the inspectorate. So I don't know how is he privy to the National Commission's report that is directed to the minister. But he seems to address, now he is including the National Commission now, that the National Commission himself is wrong with regard to how he's handling the vetting issue of Khumalo and so forth. And this email, he sends it to the minister on the 10th. That is 2 days later after the minister signs the acknowledgement of the extension of 10 days. He sends another email on the 10th to the minister. He's now asking the minister to refer this to a different body to investigate. So that's how I think what then triggers the invitation of IDEC or the justification of saying, Mr. Adams, your complaint is unfounded for now. But in order not to wait, send me something else or the making allegations on this so that we can move this thing outside the police. So that's the only conclusion that one can draw from looking at the pattern that the inspectorate is trying to engage you, you are not availing yourself, they produce a report, the minister receives it on the 8th, on the 10th, you are now sending an email talking about almost the same report that you did not participate on. You are now blaming the National Commission because this report comes from the National Commission. And we are now requesting that another body be invited to take over these dockets. That's what we see as a behavior that Adams is doing, and also the office of the minister. Commissioners, maybe if I also take you back a bit, my apologies that when Inspectorate conduct this investigation, General Jacobs, besides having the expertise within Inspectorate to be able to read the case dockets, because they are detectives themselves within, they are qualified, but he refers this complaint to legal services of the South African Police Service in order to get their opinion from an independent body that is legal services, who are people that are admitted advocates that are sitting in that division. The Inspectorate wrote back to legal services, wrote back to Inspectorate on the same complaint, and you'll see it on the Annexure 293.
Page 293.
On page 293, I beg your pardon. On same Annexure 15.
Yes.
This is the letter from Inspectorate that is written, from Legal Services, that is signed by Lieutenant General Thamane, who is a Divisional Commissioner of Legal Services. And if you look at the last page, 296, on different paragraphs, maybe I'll just read one on record. Paragraph 9 says, as indicated above, this is the response of legal services to having studied the dockets. And they are responding to Inspectorate, giving advice, legal advice to Inspectorate with regard to this complaint. They are saying, as indicated above, at the complaining statements, all the complainant statements consist of hearsay evidence, which is inadmissible in court. The identity of witnesses who may have personal knowledge of the allegations are also not mentioned in the statement. This information is critical to ensure a proper investigation. There's just one quotation of what the legal services is saying.
And perhaps you might want then, on that vein, to continue to point 11.
2.11 reads, Commissioners, whilst the allegations made by the complainant are serious in nature, they are unsubstantiated at this stage. The complainant's statement can be described as vague in accusation rather than account of factual details that fall within the complainant's personal knowledge. So this is what I thought, let me just reflect on, that Inspectorate, in reaching the conclusion on their letter to say there's no basis, there's no element of crime on this complaint that warrants even the registration of the docket, but nonetheless, the dockets were registered. So coming back into this, Commissioner, what I want to also draw attention is that in my statement on page 58, number 17174.3 on my statement.
Paragraph 174.3, right?
Yes.
Yes.
On this page, I'm just indicating the complaints that Mr. Adams have put on his statement when he registered these dockets. And one of those complaints that I want to draw the attention of the commissioners on is 17.3, which reads, the third case concerned the appointment of Ms. Mukwele as head of the technical support service at Crime Intelligence. This is an individual that was appointed at Crime Intelligence, which formed the basis of one of the cases registered both in Cape Town and in Orlando. I must indicate, commissioners, that of all the complaints that were presented on all these dockets given to IDEC, the only arrest of that entire team is based on this Ms. Mukwele that was appointed from BMW coming to Crime Intelligence. It is based on that. It is not about this case of Adams, but it is about a new case that was later registered. The complainant, the very same Mr. Adams, on a different statements that he now deposited to IDEC in January of 2025, not part to these ones of October. Same facts on this, and these dockets are with IDEC, but the arrest is effected on a new complaint by Mr. Adams, now specifically to this person. So it is why we are saying this is a strategy employed to make sure, Commissioner, Special Commissioner Kumalo, that as I keep on referencing, there's one central figure here, or there's one problem that needs to be fixed. And this problem is to stop the investigation of this drug cartel. And that is in Gauteng province. And the common person in this thing, it's Kumalo in the center.
My question has been answered now.
It has been answered.
That's really what I wanted to get to.
Then we will come back to that. You had the witness speak to new information, new affidavit. Those relate to the matters that are dealt with at page 96, when we specifically deal with what is termed the General Kumalo case.
Can I
Yes,
just confirm? General, you say 174.3 is the basis on which General Kumalo was arrested. Is it the only charge that he's facing presently? I mean, it's matter of public knowledge that there are criminal proceedings. Is that the only charge?
Commissioner,
Before he answers, General, if I may, because I fear the witness might misunderstand as to, is it the only charge? Because the charge sheet may contain a number of charges. I understand the commissioner to want to know whether the charges for which, the charges leveled against him arise from that one incident.
Yes.
As opposed to it there being only one charge.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, and I just need a yes or no answer. You don't have to give me detail of what it is.
The answer is yes. This forms the basis of the arrest of General Kumalo and the team at Crime Intelligence.